everybody got to go to work, So for me, I know rent is due every day. It's always been that way for me. Grow every day, be a better leader every day, be a better quarterback every day. And when that rent's due, I don't plan on missing no payments.
Okay, so I'm going to use that from now on. The rent is due, and I don't plan to miss any payments. Those are all the right things to say. But Dan Graziano, in reality, as my insider extraordinaire, is there any reason to believe that there is really a quarterback competition with Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia?
No. Do you want more? No.
Would you expand on that thought just briefly, please? Yes, thank you.
You ask a yes or no question. Look, they bring in Nick Sirianni, who's a young head coach. He's got a young coaching staff. They feel like this is a coach and a coaching staff that can grow with the young quarterback, Jalen Hurts. That's the ideal plan in Philadelphia, and that's the plan going forward. He's not going to come out and say Hurts is the starter because, he's a new coach. He's trying to establish a certain sort of, ethos with the team. Like, everybody's got to compete for their spot. So if I'm a coach and I'm telling you everybody's got to compete for the spot except the quarterback, then why should you buy into what I'm saying? So I think this is just coach stuff. They didn't bring him in, Nick Sirianni, to grow and develop with Joe Flacco. Hurts is the guy going forward, barring an injury or some kind of sort of ridiculous training camp situation where it looks like he just can't handle it. But so far, it seems like he can.
That's the second time today, D. Wood, that you have laughed about a story that we are talking about, but I can't argue with it. But in all seriousness, like, if you're a veteran on that team and you hear Jalen Hurts saying that kind of stuff, what do you think of it?
Well, I mean, listen, Dan is right. Jalen knows that it's his job, but I think Jalen, every coach wants certain guys to help the team buy into the program and what he's trying to bring over there. So, listen, Jalen Hurts have been in a situation where it was at Alabama with Tua, where he had to, fight, for that starting spot, and then going over to Oklahoma and reestablishing himself, and then obviously getting drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles with that dynamic between him and Carson Wentz. Nothing's really been handed to Jalen Hurts at all. So, if you want a guy that's going to help implement the type of culture that he wants to bring to Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts is the exact type of guy, because he's going to bring his lunch pail each and every day. But Jalen Hurts knows right off the bat he's not competing with Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's at the end of his career, but he's going to help set the culture within that facility.
Yeah, I think that's right. And Mel, it's interesting, as D. Wood is talking, it does occur to me that despite him not being officially handed the job, it's about as secure in the starting role as he has been anywhere in a very long time. How do you see the situation right now with Jalen Hurts in Philly? Mel?
Well, they could have gone out and moved from 12 to 10 and getting Justin Fields or Mac Jones. They didn't. So that showed the commitment that they had. The owner had said that. We're committed to, Jeffrey Lurie did, to Jalen Hurts. And then draft day rolls around, go from 6 down to 12, and then back up to 10. He said, okay, we're going to take Devontae Smith, reunite him with Jalen Hurts, and move forward there, getting him a big-time weapon to help him out in the passing game, rather than taking a quarterback who could maybe be a little better or could challenge him. So I think that told you a lot on draft day. And think about Joe Flacco. I like Jamie Newman, brought in as an undrafted free agent. I like the development he could have down the road. But for right now, it is Jalen Hurts. He's a classy kid, great character. He's a winner. His accuracy improves. He could be a really good, really successful dual-threat quarterback. He was viewed as an accent piece when they drafted him, like Tebow should have been an accent piece at age 22, not at 34. Jalen Hurts is much more than an accent piece, guys. Jalen Hurts is the man in Philadelphia right now.
All roads seem to lead back in that direction at almost all times, and I can't argue with it. In the meantime, I need everyone to just take a moment and experience this together. This is Derrick Henry in the gym, and this is Derrick Henry squatting. Damien Woody, I can't even count the plates on that thing, but I see you nodding. Of the four of us, you're probably the only one who can relate to this. What is the most you ever squatted?
Yeah, 675 for me, Greeny. When you put that much on, the bar is bending. So I see that bar bending a little bit. He got what we call 18-wheelers on that right there. He got some 18-wheelers on that. That's a big boy right there. I feel sorry for DBs who got to tackle him next year.
When you say 675, you mean pounds?
Yes, that's pounds, Greeny. That's not ounces. That's pounds.
I mean,
yes.
I'm just doing some quick math in my head. If you took Graziano, Mel, and me and put each of us on either side of that bar, you could squat us. Like the three of us could sit on one side, and we could sit on the other side, or find three equal-sized people, and you could squat all six of us. Championship is underway. There's Bryson DeChambeau, has to be considered one of the favorites. He'll tee off in about 15 minutes in the year's second major. And remember, all of the coverage is coming up here on ESPN. It is the 103rd PGA Championship, and the coverage begins today, 1 o'clock Eastern time from Kiowa. First round coverage already underway on ESPN Plus. To get ESPN Plus, go to espnplus.com or download the ESPN app. If you are just joining us, another quick look at the thriller from the NBA last night. LeBron versus Steph, living up to the hype and then some. Picking this up in the fourth quarter, the Lakers had overcome a big deficit. They had a 2-point lead, and there was LeBron heating up when his team needs him. Steph Curry can't do anything but applaud as he watches. But then Steph would come back in the game, and he could do plenty. Steph working around Dennis Schroeder. The floater is good. Steph would score 37. The Warriors had a 3-point lead. Then more drama here. LeBron James going up. Draymond Green taking him down. The poke in the eye here is really what did the most damage. They would review it. They call it a common foul. No flagrant there. LeBron would stay in the game and make the foul shot. Then here's the nice dish inside. Alex Caruso to Anthony Davis to give the Lakers a 2-point lead. And then 30 seconds left in a tie game. LeBron James, shot clock winding down. That three-pointer winds up being the difference. LeBron would score 22. Steph again with 37, but it's the Lakers who win it 103-100 and clinch the 7th seed along the way. And so here is PJ Carlesimo, who rejoins us here. And again, what can we say about that shot? I mean, there's LeBron, even on a night where he was struggling offensively, particularly in the first half, finishes only 7 of 17. But when they need him, he knocks in that big three.
No surprise, and you could see it. It was a great exchange between Steph and him because the respect is obvious, but they literally expect each other to do things like this. I mean, he shouldn't have been expecting the ball. KCP was in there, but it was well defended, nothing to do. I'm watching the game trying to figure out whether he's on the E or the R in Staples Center. He's closer to half court than he is the three-point line. Nothing but net. And it was really funny hearing him talk to Rachel Green. He said he saw 3 baskets up there. So he shot for the middle one. He may very well be telling the truth, but that's what LeBron James, that's what Steph Curry does. That's why they are who they are.
That's after the poke in the eye. But again, you mentioned Steph. It was the 2 biggest stars in the NBA on display last night. And again, Steph, who is going to get a lot of consideration for MVP this year. Again, his numbers spectacular. 37 points on just 23 shots. He was 6 of 9 from 3. Anytime he found an inch, he knocked it down. How about the performance of Steph Curry last night?
He was incredible because the defense he was facing was set up, and it really made him work. I mean, he had to work so hard to even get a shot off. It was difficult. The difference was in the first half when they passed the ball around, he had other teammates stepping up. There's Bazemore knocking down a shot. A lot of different people made threes for them in the first half, and that was important. Andrew Wiggins had an excellent game. JTA did a really good job. But Steph had to work so hard to even get a look. He came back in. Everybody knew he didn't have that kind of help in the second half, but he was still able to manufacture shots. He had trouble getting the 3 off, so he had to put it on the floor and get to the rim, Greeny. He had a couple of these little runners over the big men, and he followed it. He's impossible to defend. His handle is so good. He and Kyrie Irving are so good when they go inside using the glass. They shoot it as high up on the backboard as they have to make the shot. That's such a difficult shot. He makes it look routine. He's been magnificent. Absolutely incredible. That game shouldn't be competitive. The Lakers have a lot more talent, but Steph made it competitive.
So let's talk about where he sits right now. He goes home to take on Ja Morant in Memphis tomorrow night. Steph at 33, playing as hard as he did, 41 minutes on the floor last night, as hard as he has to work to get open. How do you see that game tomorrow night if the league is looking, everyone, I think, with no disrespect intended to Memphis, we want to see Steph Curry make it into the playoffs. How do you see tomorrow night?
They've got their work cut out for them, I think, because of the front line. Taylor Jenkins has done an unbelievable job. Memphis is really good. Greeny, they lead the league in points in the paint. Points off turnovers, they're third. Second chance points, they're first. They beat you up inside. That's where it's going to really be a challenge, I think, for the Warriors, keeping them off the glass. Jonas Valanciunas was the difference in the game last night. Over 20 points, over 20 rebounds. And John Morant, obviously, they run the floor so well. You turn the ball over against them, forget about it. They are tough. This is going to be a very difficult game for the Warriors.
Boy, this postseason, and technically we're not even in the postseason yet, but it has really started with a bang. PJ Carlesimo, outstanding. Thank you. And you've got that game tomorrow night, and we've got these two coming up in an hour. Do not miss Stephen A. and Charles Barkley together live here on Get Up 1 hour from now on ESPN. In the meantime, back to the NFL we go again, and the Eagles, where the new head coach Nick Sirianni has yet to name his team's starting quarterback, citing the importance of competition at the position. Well, yesterday, Jalen Hurts was asked about that, and here is what he said.
I'm not above anything